to us about the evolution of innovation. Michael, welcome.
What did you want to be when you grew up? I don't remember my grandfather. He passed away when I was 9 months old. But my grandmother told me that I sat on his knee and watched Neil Armstrong step onto the moon. Now, every time I see that black and white video, I picture that moment. The smell of his aqua velva, hearing one small step for man, and I can feel the moon dust crunch under my boot. I am an astronaut. I studied astronomy, geology, and physics in high school, and I was on my way to space. I started checking into the requirements of what it took to become an astronaut when I realized that I'd been lied to. I've been told, whatever you set your mind to, work hard, and you can reach it. But there it was in black and white. Maximum height, 6 foot, 1 inches tall. At 6'4", I could not reach my goal. I couldn't be 3 inches shorter. So I decided to become an engineer and design taller spaceships. And I discovered my new mission, solving problems by changing the status quo. So my question to you is, what is your mission to find your taller spaceship? Working as an advanced problem-solving manager at a transmission startup, we realized early on that we didn't know what we didn't know. All of our problems looked like big problems, and we needed better problem-solving tools and better problem solvers. We trained a 3-person team to work on our biggest problems using complex problem-solving methodologies and saved almost $12 million in 1 year. I came home from teaching a class one day, and my son asked me, "Papa, what is it you do exactly?" And I said I coach and teach people to solve their problems using statistics. "Yeah, but what does that mean? I don't understand." Now, I could have told him Google it, but that would have given him knowledge, not understanding. So my solution, offering to teach him statistical problem solving. That was his reaction as well. Why is problem solving important? Because it provides the power to make things better. Socrates developed the scientific method over 2,000 years ago. What kind of problems did they have? Leonidas and his 300 men were battling Xerxes, and Hippocrates was trying to figure out what causes the plague. Big problems at the time, but how do those compare to potential problems of today? Cars that drive themselves, computers that think for themselves, and antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So we might still need to worry about that plague thing. This is a map that shows where the lost Einsteins live. What is a lost Einstein? They are the people that have the intellect of patent and invention, but lack the opportunity. Why is innovation important? Because it provides the solutions to our problems. How do we find the lost Einsteins? The World Economic Forum reports the top 5 skills that employers are looking for today and in the future are complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, and coordinating with others. All of these are necessary skills for innovation. We don't teach these skills to our kids, and very few colleges offer all of these skills in one degree program, which means many of your employees are also missing these necessary skills. This is the innovation problem we are all facing. How many of you are engineers? How many of you are married to an engineer? Yes, I am an engineer married to an engineer. We go to a lot of marriage retreats. Our first marriage retreat, the speaker told us, it is very difficult to be married to an engineer. Engineers understand toilet paper is only supposed to be installed and used in one way. We also communicate in TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. I heard 4-letter and 5-letter acronyms today, so you guys are doing some cutting-edge stuff if you're using those. Jamie and I ran up to the speaker after his speech and said, "What do we do?" He laughed at us. 2 engineers together? That's perfect. But she still occasionally pulls out the PowerPoint on how a toilet seat works. Now, let's take a look at how engineers do innovation. My first boss in college would come in all the time and say, "Arnold, whatever you do, don't become a quality engineer in the automotive industry." Yes, Bob. In my almost 25 years of automotive quality, I learned that most engineers, especially the Detroit Big Three, innovate by benchmarking the Toyota production system with very little success. Working for the Japanese, I learned the secret. The brakes on a 1970s Corolla look just like the brakes on a 2000s Corolla, but the materials have been continuously improved over the decades. We've all heard a relentless pursuit of perfection. Continuous improvement is not breakthrough innovation. Let's take a look at how most companies try to innovate. It starts with a whiteboard and Post-it notes. So everybody can see. We fill the room. We fill the room with subject matter experts and engineers. Then we tell them, innovate breakthrough ideas. You have an hour. Then we sort those ideas so management can decide which ones survive. These ideas, too expensive. These have been done before. These are the best to keep the status quo. We'll keep those. That's a good idea. But it's too crazy. Or someone else is already doing that. So what's left? The easy stuff to do. This is also not breakthrough innovation. So what do we think about when we talk about breakthrough innovation? Jobs and Woz in the garage building the first Apple computer? Or William Whitner waking up in a cold sweat, realizing he had typhoid fever? This required him, after graduating as a civil engineer from the University of South Carolina, to move back in with Mom and Dad. He spent the time studying while he recovered until somebody, probably his father, asked him if he could design and build a steam power plant for his hometown. Instead, he reached out to Thomas Edison and Tesla about using an alternating current generator instead. He talked to Edison, who said, "I'm not interested." But Tesla was intrigued and gave him some ideas. He then went home and worked with George Westinghouse to convert an old grist mill into the first AC generating power plant, lighting up the electric city of Anderson, South Carolina, where I live. This company is now known as Duke Energy. What do Apple and Whitner have in common? These innovators had no rules, no timelines, and they followed collaborative methods to come up with something brand new. What Peter Thiel of PayPal calls 0 to 1 innovation. YouTube, Tesla, LinkedIn, all started by former PayPal employees. This is breakthrough innovation. So why is breakthrough innovation important? Because customers pay money for it. How do you create this at your company? In 1968, Spencer Silver mistakenly created a low-tack adhesive that he described for 5 years as a solution without a problem, until he met Art Fry, who took the idea and under a sanctioned bootlegging policy, created a Post-it note at 3M. This turned into a multi-million-dollar business. Google has designed their entire company to innovate. They hire smart, creative people and give them 20% of their time to solve other people's problems. Google's college-like campus creates an atmosphere of creative thinking and collaboration that especially attracts millennials. We must take the same approach and make this part of the DNA of your culture. How many of you have kids at home? On a man's night out with my sons, I warned them not to touch the hot sauce. But they had to learn on their own that insanity sauce is hot like fire. After drying away the tears, my son said they should put a warning on the bottle. So I read him the label. Keep away from pets and small children. Also good for stews and removing driveway stains. We need to give people 20% of their time to learn and experiment just like the Googlers. This week, you learned about Donald Miller's story brand model. To follow the model, you need to understand the story of your business, and you guide the hero of the story to learn how to be successful. Earlier, I asked, what is your mission to find your taller spaceship? As leaders, you need to understand you are the guide, not the hero. You need to identify what problems need to be solved and develop the story to explain it so your team can solve it. Share your story and ask them to envision what the solution would look like. Celebrate both success and failure on the way to breakthrough innovation. Who's the hero? Your innovation team. Who's on the team? To avoid the same old ideas, you need to reach across silos and across every aspect of your business, including diverse personalities, like the accounting guy who wears sunglasses at his desk, and the IT guy that's a bodybuilder with tattoos. They will bring unique perspectives once you give them the 21st century skills, collaborative tools, and time to create the future. A similar comment was made during your CEO roundtable today. How many of you have said, I will never move again? But after you unpack that last box, you love your new home, right? You have unpacked the last box, right? Saying goodbye to your old house and moving were painful. Change is the easy part. The transition from one place to another is hard. I remember sitting at my uncle's drafting table, looking at the vellum paper taped to the green vinyl. It was a drawing of an exit ramp. He was a civil engineer for the Indiana Department of Transportation. I can still remember the penciled in trees. For some reason, I thought those were really cool. Talking with Brian Raber, he mentioned that now you take pictures of trees and are able to actually tell the difference between a healthy and an unhealthy tree. I think that's pretty cool too. Remember, as the guide to the hero, you have to help them, not tell them, to let go of the past and embrace breakthrough innovation. Each of you are going to be handed a Post-it note. I want you to take one and use it as a reminder of 3M's leadership, allowing employees to innovate and encouraging ideas instead of squashing them. Write down your taller spaceship for your business and hang it on your desk as a reminder of your mission to create a culture of breakthrough innovation. Are there any questions? Yes.
What is it, you talked about employers are looking for problem-solving skills. What is it that stands in the way of the new employees, whether they be experienced or relatively inexperienced, what stands in the way of them developing and using problem-solving skills?
As a problem-solving manager, the number one thing is time. We don't give them that 20%. I can remember doing a workshop at a supplier, and we took a week to actually work on their top 2 problems. At the end of the week, we had solved their biggest problem for my company and the biggest problem for one of our competitive companies, and that was okay. But their comment was they were able to do that because they actually took the time to focus on the problem and solve it and come up with a solution. We don't allow that most of the time in companies. Everybody is always working, that work-life balance thing, they're just always working and they're not solving the problem. Anybody else? Yes.
2 people walk in to interview a new innovator. And you don't know if they're skilled, if they're unskilled. Are there personality traits that you look for when you're interviewing someone who think you one person?
I interviewed well over 200 people at a transmission startup, probably closer to 300. And I had questions that I always asked. I always asked, what was the biggest problem that you solved? And how did you solve it? And I had my question of Star Trek or Walking Dead. If someone said Star Trek, my question was a Fibonacci sequence question. If you have tribbles who reproduce every 12 hours, and you get 10 tribbles for every 1 tribble, how many tribbles will you have in 48 hours? And when I looked at some of these kids, especially when we did co-op interviews, they just looked at me with this glazed look like, I can't believe you asked this question. But what I was looking for was for the people that had that grace under fire. I hired unique personalities for my team. I hired a guy who was a master's student who had worked for BMW in Germany. And when I saw what he did, I knew he was going to be a great problem solver. I hired another guy who was a little bit older, and he had actually graduated high school and raced motorcycles, like the lean into the curb motorcycles, and did that as his passion, pursuing that, and then ended up working as a mechanic and was actually leading the team in the garage And I saw him and I knew he would understand transmissions, and I knew that he had gone to school a little bit later in life and would appreciate it. So you have to look for those unique personalities. For me, I know it when I see it. So like, that's just a skill I have.
Somebody said Walking Dead.
Same question, but I put every 10 hours you get 12 more zombies. Again, another Fibonacci sequence. So it's fun watching them try to figure that out with a pencil. I only gave them 5 minutes. Some of them you could see the smoke coming out of their ears. So it was fun. Any others?
Michael, what's the magic of 20%?
That's just what Google does. I think 3M normally tries to give 10%. If you think about it, what you have at 20% is that 1 day a week to do what you want to do. Chase things. I work now for a company called Ryobi. We make power tools. Very innovative company. I'm really trying to get in with the innovation side of what we do, working with them, doing some of the workshops that I've done previously. My first week there, I'm walking down the hall and I turn the corner, and all of a sudden a shark comes flying at me. And somebody was driving one of those balloons, remote control shark. And we've got radios, Bluetooth radios that float in the pool. I mean, we had a guy who was testing battery life on a little 4x4 truck in the warehouse. And I'm like, I want his job. Any other questions? Okay. Today's job landscape is changing so rapidly that by 2030, 65% of those jobs don't exist yet. And over 30% of the jobs will be done by artificial intelligence. We need to make sure people have 21st century job skills, because jobs will still have problems that require innovation to solve them. And we need to make sure they're prepared for the challenges that are coming at us, such as attacking aliens, killer robots, and of course, plague-infected zombies. Now, I haven't given up on reaching space. I have Elon Musk and Richard Branson working on this for me personally. But if you're successful implementing a culture of breakthrough innovation at your companies, one of your lost Einsteins will build you your taller spaceship. Thank you very much.
Michael, thanks so much. One of the things that Michael does is work with Toastmasters, and MAPPS has donated to one of the favorite charities that he has, which is the Toastmaster Prison Initiative. So, thank you for giving us that suggestion. Here's some information here about Michael's company, and so as we're going to the next phase of our evening, you can stop by that and certainly pull Mike aside and ask him further questions during dinner. So with that, I'd like to ask Brian Mayfield to come down and do our invocation. And then Diane's got some instructions about dinner.
Brian, would you bow your heads and join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight with hearts full of praise and thanksgiving. We're thankful for a week together, a special time where colleagues, teammates, and competitors can come together and sit as friends. Lord, we are thankful for the hard work that many in this room did over the last year to prepare our organization for the future. We ask for your covering and blessing for the new board so that they can make business decisions that honor you and honor our companies. We pray for our nation, our leadership, and all of our political leaders. We ask that they work together in a peaceful manner, try to bring healing and good fortunes for our country. We ask that you provide coverage for those men and women who are fighting for our freedom and
Thanks, Brian and Michael.